Hey everybody, welcome back to Chatty Cathy's Place. My name is Kathy, and today I'm going to be reviewing Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 2, Episode 11. But before I do that, why don't you go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel? I'm going to thank you in advance. Let's get into it, everybody. It's called A Halt of Drama, and we have some poignant. They open up in a poignant way. They have Maurice, they have Martell, they have Kimmy, Tisha, Melody, and Marceau, but they're all individually speaking to us about the climate um, of that time. And that is that we are in the midst of a global pandemic, something none of us have ever experienced. But in the Black community, or for the Black community, we're also in the midst of the BLM protest. And the world is looking at us, right? And they're paying attention to the fact that racism has not gone away in America. It is systemic. It is negatively affecting the Black community, and because we're global now. We have videos that everybody in the world has seen, of the police putting their knee on the neck of George Floyd and effectively taking his life. We have video um, of so many people either being killed by the police, which we're not hardened to. We're not meant to psychologically see people die in front of us. We're not psychologically supposed to see that. We're not prepared for it, and we don't handle it very well. And we're saying we shouldn't be handling it well. We shouldn't be used to it because it's abnormal behavior. And I'll just say this. I know this is it's a reality show. Um, but I want to say that since the beginning of the protest, we've seen more and more things go on that tell us that racism is alive and well. But the thing that showed it to me more than the Black people lives being ended by the police, more than that, are the insurrection at the Capitol building. And there were so many people, and they were literally crushing one of the police officers, and they were reporting it. And they were saying, the police officer was saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe. And it was reminiscent, immediately reminiscent of Black people saying, I can't breathe. And the police saying, you're absolutely right, you can't breathe, and effectively killing them. And so we're saying, can you imagine what the police officers are experiencing? And, it's barbaric, it's this and that. And nobody thought that when the police were on the other side of it. And I'm not saying that the police deserve to be killed either. But what I'm saying is, when they're on the other side, when they are in the position of power, why don't they take into consideration those are people's relatives? That could be my brother, that could be my sister, it could be my mother, it could be my father, it could be me. And they think guilty before proven innocent. And, there's nobody sees anything wrong with taking a Black life. Well, our lives do matter. We have people who are going to be left behind if our lives are taken from us. We have family, we have children, we have friends, we have jobs that we love, and we have jobs that we don't so much love. We have importance in our lives. And just because the police don't think that we matter, and just because some of the politicians, even the president or the former president didn't think that our lives should matter, even if it's somewhere all the way up in the president's office. I know that our lives matter, and I'm not going to stop saying that until everybody knows that our lives matter. So I'm going to get off of my soapbox for just a moment. I do not promise that I will not get back up there. But for now, I'm going to be talking about Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 2, Episode 11, A Halt of Drama. And so they're talking to us about the Black Lives Matter. And Maurice, he's a new lawyer and he's feeling himself a little bit. And rightly so. So he decides enough is enough. And I thought about it when he said, enough is enough. And he said it with power, right? But it hasn't stopped. So it kind of broke my heart a little bit. So he gathered some of the successful Black business people for a Black business town hall. And they were he was highlighting the history of the United States and our important documents, right? And um, and all lives are created equal, but there aren't, right? Um, Physically, we're created equal, right? Spiritually, we're created equal, but politically, that's another question. And so he was talking about that. The crowd was small. Um, and so they were social distancing. They did have on masks. And so it allowed you to know the period in which he was speaking. And he had some snacks out there. And of course, the different business people got up individually and talked about, how things are in Huntsville for them and their experiences and what they want to see going forward. And while the crowd was relatively small, the idea is good. The idea is good. It's always good when people get together with a mission. And the mission is to propel the Black community forward. And they were exchanging contact information so they could connect with one another toward the healing of the overall Black community. And um, normally, Maurice gets on my nerves, right? I think he's a very self involved, selfish man. I do. I think that he put himself out there in season one like he was this really caring father, and I'm not going to say that he isn't, all right, but I think that he painted a picture of him being a caring father, and he's not able to see his son more, and he really thinks it's necessary for his son to have more interaction with the father at the age that he is now. And all of that is not really arguable. Now, the thing was, he was getting ready to get married. He was in law school at the time of season one, right? He was in law school. He didn't have a lot of time. So his son would come and stay with him for the summer. And Kimmy already knew what that situation was because for the last, however many years, when the little boy comes for the summer, she puts him in camp. She is his mother figure. Maurice is doing other stuff because Maurice is a chauvinist who believes that certain things are women's responsibility and other things are a man's responsibility. It just so happens, in his opinion, more stuff is a woman's responsibility. So Kimmy is the hands-on step parent. So the problem is, well, in my opinion, the problem is Maurice was married to Kiowa. I believe I'm saying her name correctly. He was married to her. They clearly lived in the same town. I don't remember what it was, but it was somewhere in the Midwest. They lived there. They got married. They had Monster. Maurice got the wonderful, brilliant idea that he would move to Huntsville, Alabama, and he, restarted his life, so to speak. He lost weight. He became more successful financially. He went to law school, and that's where we met him. So he's doing better. He has a woman um, who perhaps moved to Huntsville with him, and is his. She is definitely his stronghold. She is the woman who has his back, and he is aware of it. It just took him a long time to figure it out. Once he figured it out, he asked her to marry him. But all the while, she was playing wife for him. And, if that's how they like it, that's how I love it. Okay. So he wanted the little boy to come and to live with him, right? So that meant that he was going to leave his mother and his stepfather. So it wasn't like they the couples are not, mad that they are together with whom they are together. The mother just didn't want to be that far away from her child. Well, Marie says, well, we agreed that he would come live with me when he got to this age. The problem is Maurice moved to Huntsville. And so she somehow made him understand that you're the one that moved, and now you're making it like everybody has to do what you want to be convenient for you. And so he offered her and her husband a house that they have that's all paid for, and they could just live there in Huntsville. Um, so that meant that he wanted three people at least. I don't know if they have any other children, but he wanted those people to uproot their lives and move to Huntsville so that he could be happy. And the thing that Kimmy had with it, the problem that she had with it, is the same problem I would have had with it. Is that she already knows she's the hands-on parent when he is in Huntsville. So he's even more absent in the home now because he's getting ready to study for the bar exam, right? He actually took himself out of the house the closer he got to the date. And so he wasn't even there. So she knew that that would be all on her. She had already been a single parent, right? She raised her son, and quite frankly, I think she raised him well, but she didn't want to go backwards and be a single parent again. She likes Monster. Monster likes her. They don't have a problem with one another, but she doesn't want to be a single mother. Excuse me. He doesn't seem to understand that. He kind of gets in his head like he's really doing something when she has to remind him that he doesn't really do anything. He's not there, and she's doing all the stuff. And if the mother and stepfather are moving to Huntsville, which was questionable, then he could stay with his mother and come over to the house, and he wouldn't be uprooted twice because the boy wants his mother too. He's used to living with his mother. So I thought he was super, super selfish, super self-involved because he wanted everybody to rearrange their lives so he could be happy. And that is selfish. Now, yeah, boy needs his father, but why did he move back to the town in the Midwest so he could be convenient for the child and nobody would be uprooting their lives with the exception of his family, right? Why did he do that? Because he's selfish. All right, so after they had the I don't know. I am on a soapbox today. I'm sorry, guys. Um, so after they had the Black Business Town Hall, they started talking amongst themselves. The principal characters in the show started talking amongst themselves about how and why the community remains, excuse me, behind the dominant sector of our society. And they start talking about, we weren't even invited to the table to learn about, business as it is. And so we're behind because nobody really wanted us to be behind. But I beg to differ with that because when slavery was abolished, people went, black people went to, believe, I believe it was Iowa, went there and created their own town, and they were successful. And they didn't have to bother the white people. They didn't have to go in the back door or, something like that. They didn't have to, bother them. They could coexist without interaction until the white people got mad and burnt it all down, killing people. So no, it's not because we weren't invited to the table. It's because of some other systemic reasons that we're not as successful as we could and should be here in the racist country of America. So Mel, I'm off my back. I'm back. I'm back. Mel is in ATL and she's staying with her brother. She says that Marcus gives her some support and space to consider what her future is going to look like without Martell. Um, so that's where she's staying during the separation. However, she's made an agreement with Martell that every time they separated, it was she who had to move and uproot her life and come and travel back and forth to see the children. And so she said that he's the one who messed up, and I think we can all agree that that is accurate. Then he should be the one to be uncomfortable. He should be the one that has to put in some extra effort. And so she has made an agreement that she is going to um, stay at the house and that Martell can go and stay at another residence that they have in Huntsville. And she should have been wise enough because I think Mel is a bright woman. She clearly is the head of the business, and I think that she's just a really bright woman. So she should have known that she couldn't trust him because he's not trustworthy. And I have all of these opinions with, I never saw these people, but I think that's right that he's not trustworthy because he's done a whole lot of stuff that shows that he can't be trusted. So they discussed what led up, Marcus and Mel discussed what led up to the final separation, because, as an aside, Mel has filed for divorce. So she's not playing anymore. She has actually been strong enough to walk away. She wants nothing more to do with Martell, and that is what it is. So she is talking about being concerned with the children and how they are affected by all of this uncertainty. And so she's given up. She's tired. Her marriage is over. She's going to focus on the children. She's going to move back to Huntsville and be the mother that she is. And she'll figure everything else out, as they go along. So she tells Martell, she arrives at the house. She tells Martell, I'm sorry, that he has to leave and he can live at the other place. So when we kind of go over and we see that Martell is with the children at home, and he said, "Are you guys hungry?" And they're like, "Yes." These are the most mannerable children on TV. They always say, "Yes, ma'am," "Yes, sir." So they say, "Yes, sir," and he says, "Oh, what do you want?" PB and J, and they're like, "Yeah." Like they were really happy about the peanut butter and jelly. So that's nice, right? They're really mannerable and nice. And he complains to us that it's been so tough on him because he's with the children 24/7. But we actually know that he's with the children 24/7 when they're with him. but he has them part time and she has them part time. So he's making himself, he's a martyr, right? He's giving up everything because he has 4 children and he's complaining. That's really what he's doing. And his mother stops by, and the little one of his oldest daughter, I don't remember what her name is, but she is a miniature Mel. Absolutely, she looks like her, and she had the that little thing, little sassy situation. And she says to grandma, they hi grandma, and she says daddy cooked. Well, really, mommy cooked it, and he and daddy heated it up. And she's doing this with it. And grandmom said, "Will you tell it like it is?" Because grandmoms can take that from their grandchildren, but they couldn't take it from their children. So, and I'm not saying that the little girl is bad. I think she was a little bit precarious, like she was precocious, a little bit with that. Yeah. So that's that. So she tells, they go upstairs and they say, "Have a good talk." That's one thing that drives me crazy. They show the children, right? The children are beautiful children, and then they're constantly sending the children upstairs. Or when we come into the house, the children are upstairs. What are these children doing upstairs all the time by themselves? They have an infant. So are these children constantly watching this infant? Is there a nanny up there helping them? Or like what's going on? I like to know that. All this upstairs. I know I only had one child and he was very rarely upstairs unless I was up there. Like kids do stuff. Like I don't know what's happening. All right. So he starts talking to his mom and they talk about the separation and then he admits that they're getting a divorce. And his mother is no, she's not one of the most awesome mothers on. She is the most awesome mother in reality television. And the reason I say that is because she does what most mothers, if not all mothers, should do. Her son is wrong, right? She tells her son, "You are wrong." See, it's not that hard. He's wrong, and she tells him so. A lot of times, your child can be wrong, and the parent will act just like they'll make excuses, they'll blame other things, other people, whatever. This woman, she's awesome. She's like, "You did this," and blah blah blah. She said, "Well, no, you just taking Mel's side." She's like, "No, I'm not. You started this, and you did it again, and you did it again, and you destroyed my family." And she's right. It didn't just involve him. It didn't just involve him and Mel. It involved the entire family. Her mother, her siblings, his mother, the children, and Mel and Martell. It involves everybody. It involves us because we're here talking about it and being concerned with all of those different aspects. But Martell only sees that Mel was not taking care of him, so he had to cheat. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a relationship and you feel that your partner is not taking care of you, I don't even know what he meant by that. Okay. Um, but if you find that that is your situation, as per Martell, you should go out and get somebody else. Don't tell your spouse that you are cheating. Just do it because you deserve it. They're not taking care of you. So he said that he's divorcing and he's going to get a nanny to help out with everything. What that means to me is that he's going to get somebody to take care of those children. He's going to because he was complaining about all this. They're going to do the cleaning. They're going to do the cooking. They're going to do all of that stuff, and that's not a nanny. That's a every excuse me, that's an everything person. Unless he's going to have more than one, person to help him. But he's not doing all that stuff. He might be a good dad. He might have been a good dad. because the stuff that he's doing right now is questionable. So then we go on and we see Tisha, and she's planning with her children the new normal. And the new normal, as we see it for education for the children, is instead of going to school because of the pandemic, they're going to be home and they're going to be getting their lessons on the computer, and then they're going to have to ask questions and stuff like that, and then they're going to have to do their homework. So she's telling what's his name, MJ, that he's gonna. Okay, so I know her kid's name a little bit, but I'm not sure if it's Mila that's older or the other one. So anyway, MJ, I'm gonna say is gonna help with Mila, and then Mila's gonna help with another M name little girl. I just can't remember. I'm so bad at names. I'm sorry. Because they're sweet kids. So it's nothing against them. It's just me and my, you know, aging brain. So she's going to help him. He's going to help her. She's going to help her. And they're all going to work together. And the only person who's not going to be helping anybody is Marcel. And the reason he's not even asked to help anybody. Nobody even said, will you work with us? Because this is a new normal and we don't really know how it's going to pander out. It's no way in the world last March we all thought that we'd still be in a pandemic today, which is February the 10th. I certainly didn't think we would be in the house. I've been home so long, my butt hurts from just being home and sitting and periodically, like earlier today, I went out for a ride because um I'm a homebody by nature, but wow, it's been almost an entire year. And so they didn't see that. And she has three kids. So he is the only one who is not have any responsibility for maintaining this new normal. And of course, Marcel gets on my nerves just as much as Maurice because he is a self-proclaimed chauvinist. He thinks it's funny. That's the thing that really is irritating. He just thinks it's funny that he wants his wife to be at home and not out producing. She has a master's degree. She's getting another degree, which is admirable. I gather that she has more education than he does. So why does he think she's done all of that? She has her real estate license, and he thinks she did that to stay home. He's such an ass. I mean, sorry. So she said that I'm sorry, Marceau said that he used to have an assistant, hinting that it was her who used to, be able to help him, like with the paperwork or, stuff like that, girl stuff. Because she didn't have enough. I mean, she only has three kids. So, of course she had time to help him, make his business successful, of course. And now he doesn't have that. He needs an assistant. And so, she's jealous anyway. So she said, okay, well, then I need a manny, I'm sorry. And he says, oh, you're not getting a manny. And she said, oh, yes, I will. And they're really joking with one another, right? And she says, yeah, I'll get one. And he says, I'm not paying a man to take care of my kids. And then they reveal that they're just joking, but he's always joking. He he's always joking, but in my opinion, nothing. I've even been online, talking about him on Facebook because that's who I am, and he's on there. Those men are on the blogs, right? And they're on there, and if you say something that they don't agree with about themselves, they say stuff back to you. So I think I've gotten on both of their nerves because I think they get on my nerves. So that's that. So then they started gossiping about the Halt's divorce, which is in the media. So they pull up the thing and then they reminisce about how in love they used to be when they first met them. And, Marceau said that the reason he thinks that the reason that the marriage is ending is not so much that Martel cheated and is a chronic cheater, right? Disrespected his wife time after time after time, but it's because uh, they brought it to the public and desecrated their marriage. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a problem, if your spouse is cheating on you, make sure you don't go on a reality television show. Make sure you don't go to Instagram or anything and mention anything about it, because you will cause your marriage to break up. Keep that in mind. So then we go and we see Destiny, which is kind of different and new because we're at her house, right? And she has a new home. They have relocated from Tennessee to Huntsville. She has a new marriage. She has a new baby. Like everything is cool. And she's talking to her interior designer, and she's telling her that she has a fish bowl and she wants some tropical fish. And I mean, the fish bowl, the first fish bowl that you get, little children, is really small. And I don't even know what she was thinking. I think I would have thought she was joking, except she has the real fish bowl. And being that she really has the fish bowl, I think she really might want some fish. But that's not a decorative piece. It's not. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'm glad Destiny has somebody professional to help her out, because yeah, that's crazy. All right, so she Martel stops by, right? And he has a mask on. And this is something I noticed from this point on. He has on a mask, right? Makes sense to me. We're in a pandemic, right? So he comes in and he's talking to her about the baby, about Matt. She has a new life, and then on top of her new life, her new marriage, a new baby, a new house, all of that, she's in a pandemic, and she's the black life. Like, she has a lot going on, and so he's talking to her about it, and then he has on a mask. He sits down. He takes off the mask. So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't understand that, because um, he has on a mask. There's a baby, a newborn baby in the house. It's an airborne pathogen. I don't understand why he took off the mask. He's visiting someone, right? Which is, we weren't doing that in the beginning of the pandemic. I'm still not doing it. But we certainly weren't supposed to do that. I understand that they were filming. He should have left his mask on. He could have, contaminated the baby in some way. So, I mean, Destiny, she's on her own. If she let him in, so be it. But the baby is okay. I'm back on my soapbox again. All right, sorry, but the baby is innocent. That's all. So Destiny, to us, says that she feels some stress because she's used to Martel and Mel, not Martel and then Mel, and she's known Martel for a longer period, but she and Melanie have become very close, and especially since she's had the baby. And so it's not as easy. And I hear that all the time when people divorce or even break up, if they're going together. People feel like they have to make a choice between who they're going to continue to be friends with, and that's so immature. I'm giving you my opinion on this day. I think that's immature. You can be friends with both of them. They don't have to be in the same space at the same time if it's tumultuous like that relationship is. But you can certainly still be friends. Maybe not talk to them about, the marriage until, they are firmly divorced. Um, but don't get caught up in that. Like, have your friends. A good friend is very, very hard to find. So hold on to them. Shoot. So they discussed the divorce. And then she's telling Martell, like Martell is thinking that Destiny's husband is helping her out with the child. And she's like, no, he's not. He does not get up. He does not do anything really with the child. Everything is on her. And that's the one good thing I'm going to say about Martell. I'm going to say two things. He has a really clear complexion, and he's hands on with his children. The end. All right. So he says the divorce is for the best because he can't take Mel's verbal abuse. And I will say that Mel has a mouth on her, right? And she can't help her voice, but yeah, 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 yeah. She just is like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I like Mel, but her voice is a bit much. And yeah, she does get mad at him and says a lot of stuff. And in my opinion, if you are working on reconciling your marriage, you probably shouldn't continually bring up um, the thing that caused you to tear it down a little bit. But she couldn't let that go, and I understand that. But that will never, work if you keep talking about it. Okay. You guys are getting a lot of advice from me today. So you're welcome. Martell is planning for a very ugly divorce, and he is demanding that Destiny side with him as opposed to with Mel. And his reasoning is that they've known one another for 20 years. Um, and he and Mel are equal now. Yes, he's cheated, but she's cheating too, and he knows it. And Destiny doesn't really buy that Mel is cheating, but she does say to him, if she is cheating, she deserves to cheat because you've done so much over the years. Like you've done so much. And he thinks that if she is cheating now, then they're equal. He's he's so asinine. I mean, he really is. But I like Destiny because she too holds him accountable for his behavior. She does not agree that Mel is the cause of their divorce. She does not. I mean, Martell says that she started giving him oral sex. He implied that, but he implied in season one that she would not give him oral sex, so that was why he cheated. So then she apparently was giving him oral sex, which apparently was something that she really was an implication that she was really trying to make the marriage work, and he did not accept that. He just said she was she started doing things sexual, but he just can't take her verbal abuse, and she couldn't take whatever it was that he's doing. Now, we all know what he's doing. What does he mean, whatever he's doing? He's cheating. So she can't tolerate cheating, and he can't tolerate being held accountable for it. So that's what that is. He can't even say it. So then we move on to Marceau and Tisha, and they are at Black, and they're discussing their the progress of the club, and then Marceau looks at his phone and he says, "Wow, look, Chiefs, Biden just chose Kamala Harris as his running mate." And then, they become very excited, as the country and the world did. And she immediately is encouraged as she starts saying, they have the two daughters, and she said, she used to just say to them, yeah, you can be anything you want to be in the world. But now she has an example to show them that, in fact, they can be anything that they want to be. And it kind of gave me chills. You know what I mean? Like, it's awesome that, we do have those opportunities now to tell our children and tell our girl children. Because if black men are here, right, in this country, white men, black men, who? White women, black women. So Kamala Harris, she went on and did this. So yes, ma'am, she worked that out. My Sora did. She worked it out. I don't think that teacher realize, because I understand that Tisha and Mel are my sorors as well, and so is Kamala Harris, and I'm not so proud of Tisha and Mel with that because sometimes, they're a little bit much, but it is what it is. She could at some point tell her children that as well. Now, this is a nice conversation they're having, and then Marceau says, I never even thought about it from a woman's perspective. But now that you mention it, you know, my daughters can be anything that they want to be. I'm like, he's such an ass. He really is. Like, I can't even think of another word for either. None of those men. They're all asses. I'm not a cursing woman, but they're asses. They really are. You know what comes out of an ass. That's all I'm saying. They really are. Because you're sitting here talking to your wife, right? Who happens to be female. And you never look at stuff from her perspective, but you say you love her. And you never realize, oh my God, these people are crazy. So, Martell stops by. And he kind of shocks them. He did not call first, as is protocol. So he stops by and he's a little humble, and he starts really blaming Mel for the separation of the two families because he cannot take responsibility. Just can't be done. So he blamed Mel for it, and he's saying, he's beating around the word sorry, apologize, like he's all around it. And I'm so glad because this is one little teeny second when Marceau wasn't an ass, and he said, "You can do this, you can do that," and I know if you really wanted to say you were sorry, you would say, I apologize. And Martell, really started to stutter and say, yeah, I do. I can't, I do apologize. He's never said that before. That's the whole problem with the whole everything. That is the whole problem with the entirety of everything that is problematic in this entire show. Is that he is so arrogant that he can never say he was wrong. Had he said, I'm wrong for cheating on you, Mel, I will never do it again, and then carry through with it and never do it again, he would have the respect of the men. He would have the respect of the women. They would have a good marriage. Their business would thrive. The family, the extended family members would be happy, and so would I. Not that he cares, but so would I. Um, and so Marcel tells him, I was legitimately hurt by you. And he's saying that, and Martel is, again, you know what he is. He really wants to get them on his side, just as he went to get Destiny on his side. Because he's a teenager or less, he thinks they're size. He thinks they're size. And they went to college together, and he and Marcel were really, really close. So he really, he blames Mel. She's the one who said that the hairdresser was having an affair with Marcel. He never knew anything about it. And then, he felt bullied. He felt bullied. And he and Mel then started saying, like, I don't know why Tisha and Marcel, are mad at us. What have we done? And so he implies that they're oblivious to their behavior. And then Tisha, in a moment of clarity, says, Martell, you've done things that have directly affected our marriage. And then Martell, being, what he is, he says, oh, you mean the 20 women? Like it's nothing. With a smile on his stupid face. When this show first started, I thought he was handsome. He has become uglier and uglier each episode, and now he's atrocious. So you could clearly see that he didn't want to apologize. He stumbled over it, but it's kind of like a first step for Marceau. Um, Tisha wisely is not really on board with that, and she's smart because no, let me take that back. She's smart about this. She's smart about this. She will go on to disappoint you if you are sitting there thinking that she's smart. So don't do that. Say she's smart about this and leave it at that. Mel calls Destiny. She's driving into Huntsville and tells her that she wants to stop by. She wants to see the baby. And Destiny says, "Listen, you have luggage with you. um, Come on in, bring your luggage and get changed because my trainer's here and we're going to do some exercise." So I see another Halt enter the house. She too is wearing a mask, and she's even saying, Destiny is not playing with this baby. Corona's out here, and you better have a mask on. And it made sense. And then she took her mask off too, changed her clothes, and they started. The three people were exercising. So okay. And then the baby is there and all of that. It's a lot of people stopping by their house. There was the interior designer or decorator. I'm not sure what she was. There was Mel. There was Martell, and then there was the trainer. So that's four people in the midst of a pandemic. So they worked out. They were making. They had fun with it. And both of those women um, bounced back really well physically. They look good. Um, so Destiny is later. They start talking about the change in their lives and stuff like that. And Destiny is starting. She has a lot of new things going on in her life, and she's just trying to, fit it all in. And Mel is ending. She has the end of the family, the end of the marriage, all of that. So they start talking about what's going on with Destiny, and she's saying that her husband. She's basically saying she didn't use the word chauvinist, but she did say that it appears that he is checked out, and Mel said he better check back in. Um, and to us, she says, I see some red flags. Um, so I hope that Destiny doesn't end up where I am, and I do too, because I noticed in season one that her husband, he was her boyfriend at the time, fiance at the time, and he was kind of, a jerk. I'll use that word. That's better, right? I'll say jerk. Um, so when it was time for Mel to leave, she was like, I sure don't feel like going over here and dealing with Martell. And you could feel that energy. Like she's like, happy. They're talking, kikiing. And then she's the thought of it took all the breath out of her. And you have to appreciate that. So she arrives at the house, and initially they greet each other, kind of kindly, hi, how are you? And he started. He is really a jerk. He pushes all kinds of buttons and starts arguments with Mel. He knows that Mel cannot argue quietly, so then she starts to, yell. He knows that the children are upstairs. Um, so he says, wait a minute. And the thing that she was upset with is that he was supposed to have moved out by that day, and he hadn't. So he lied, effectively lied. Um, so he calls the children, Mom, your mom is down here. And they come down and they're really happy to see Mel. And Mel appears to be very happy to see them. But they have to go right back upstairs, because he has more buttons to push. So he wants to talk to her because he there's a TV show. I forget the name of it, but it is the first time that I even heard of, let alone seen. Now it's a sitcom, so they put some infusions of laughter and stuff in it. But Martell said that he wanted to kind of mimic this show, and what the essence of the show was that the couple got married, they had two children, and they had a garage, like a detached garage, and so they would switch back and forth. Like the children never left the home. The children didn't do the switching. The parents did the switching. And so Martell says, why don't we just leave the kids at home? All of their stuff is here. And then 2 weeks you can be in the house, and I'll stay at the other house, and then we'll switch. And Mel didn't like that idea. And then he says he has some other stuff that he wants to talk to her about. And he started an argument with that. And then he has another thing. He does not want to homeschool. And, that was something that she wanted. And his big one, he wants full custody. Now he knew that that was a button, and Mel starts to yell and he then pretends to understand, not to understand why she's angry. What's wrong with you? Well, why are you mad? You want to take her children and then get a nanny to take care of them. You're being a jerk. He says she's cheating on him. She tells him to get out. And eventually he does. Uh, and I think I'm right. That man doesn't want to get a divorce. I think he still loves her. He's just a jerk. He loves himself more. He wants to do what he wants to do, but he doesn't want her to react the way that she has reacted, and that's why he's pushing the buttons. He's doing it like if you guys have ever seen those switchboard operators of yesteryear, where they're taking the thing out and putting it in different um, for different phone numbers and things like that. He's pushing buttons. You know, it might look cute, but it's not. He's pushing buttons. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now woosah. The episode is over. Stay tuned for episode 12. Um, Please, before you go, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much, everybody.